Are you confused about which nuts are truly beneficial for your health as you age? With so much conflicting information online, it's no wonder many people over 50 are uncertain about incorporating nuts into their diet. Today, we're going to cut through the confusion and provide you with evidence-based guidance on making smart nut choices that can genuinely support your health goals. I'm Dr. Richard Caldwell, and I've spent over 2 decades studying nutrition and aging. What I've learned might surprise you. The key isn't avoiding nuts, but understanding how to choose and consume them wisely as our body's needs change over time. Let's start with a fundamental truth. As we age, our metabolism does change. Our digestive systems may become more sensitive. Our inflammation responses can be different, and our nutritional needs shift. This doesn't mean we need to fear food, but rather that we should be more intentional about our choices. Many of my patients come to me frustrated. They say, "Dr. Caldwell, I'm eating healthy foods like nuts every day, but I'm not seeing the health benefits I expected." The answer isn't always what you're eating, but how you're eating it and which varieties you're choosing. The truth is, not all nuts are created equal, especially when it comes to supporting optimal health after 50. Some varieties and preparations can actually work against your health goals, while others can be powerful allies in maintaining vitality, cognitive function, and overall wellness. Before we dive into specific recommendations, let me be clear about something important. This isn't about eliminating entire food groups or creating fear around natural foods. It's about making informed choices based on current nutritional science and understanding how our changing bodies respond to different foods. If you're someone who's been eating nuts regularly but not seeing the health benefits you expected, or if you've experienced digestive discomfort, inflammation, or other issues that might be related to your nut consumption, this information could be particularly valuable for you. Let's examine 4 types of nuts that may not be serving you well after 50, followed by 4 varieties that research shows can be particularly beneficial for supporting healthy aging. Walk into any grocery store, and you'll see an entire aisle dedicated to flavored nuts, honey-roasted cashews, chocolate-covered almonds, maple-glazed pecans. These products are marketed as healthy snacks, but the reality is quite different when we look at their nutritional profile. The primary concern with these products isn't the nuts themselves, but what's been added to them. When manufacturers coat nuts in sugars, syrups, and artificial flavors, they're transforming a naturally nutritious food into something that can spike blood sugar levels significantly. For people over 50, this is particularly problematic. Our insulin sensitivity naturally decreases with age, meaning our bodies don't handle blood sugar spikes as efficiently as they once did. Regular consumption of high-sugar foods, even when they're based on healthy ingredients like nuts, can contribute to insulin resistance and increased inflammation. The chocolate coatings often contain trans fats and excessive amounts of added sugars. A handful of chocolate-covered almonds can contain more sugar than a candy bar, but because it's marketed as a healthy snack, people often eat them without considering the impact on their blood sugar and overall health. Additionally, these heavily processed nuts often contain preservatives, artificial colors, and flavor enhancers that our bodies need to process and eliminate. As we age, our liver and kidney function may not be as robust as it once was, making it more challenging to efficiently process these additional chemicals. Pine nuts have gained popularity in recent years, partly due to their use in pesto and Mediterranean cuisine. While they do contain beneficial nutrients, there's an important consideration for regular consumers, particularly those over 50. Pine nuts are exceptionally high in manganese, a trace mineral that's essential in small amounts, but can become problematic when consumed in excess. Just 1 ounce of pine nuts contains about 2.5 milligrams of manganese, which is more than the daily recommended intake for adults. Manganese toxicity, while rare, can affect the nervous system and has been associated with symptoms similar to Parkinson's disease. As we age, our bodies may become less efficient at regulating mineral levels, making us more susceptible to imbalances. This doesn't mean pine nuts are dangerous, but it does mean they should be consumed occasionally rather than daily, especially if you're eating other manganese-rich foods like whole grains, legumes, and leafy greens. The Mediterranean diet, which includes pine nuts, is indeed healthy. But it's important to note that traditional Mediterranean populations typically consume pine nuts as an occasional ingredient rather than a daily snack food. Many people choose roasted nuts because they taste better and have a satisfying crunch. However, the high-temperature roasting process can create some nutritional concerns, particularly for people whose bodies may be more sensitive to inflammatory compounds. When nuts are roasted at high temperatures, several things happen. First, the heat can damage the delicate omega-3 fatty acids that make nuts particularly beneficial for heart and brain health. These fatty acids are sensitive to heat and light, and prolonged exposure to high temperatures can render them less effective. Second, high-temperature roasting can create advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which are compounds that can contribute to inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. As we age, our bodies accumulate more of these compounds naturally, so minimizing additional exposure through our diet can be beneficial. The salt content in many roasted nuts is also a concern for people over 50. Many of us become more sensitive to sodium as we age, and our blood pressure may be more responsive to dietary sodium intake. Some flavored nuts contain 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium per ounce, which can add up quickly if you're eating them regularly. Additionally, the high sodium content can mask the natural flavors of the nuts, often leading people to eat larger portions than they might of unsalted varieties. Cashews are unique among nuts because they require extensive processing before they're safe to eat. The cashew shell contains anacardic acid, a compound related to poison ivy that can cause severe skin reactions. To make cashews safe for consumption, they must be steamed or roasted to neutralize this compound. However, the processing doesn't stop there. Many cashews undergo additional chemical treatments to achieve their characteristic white appearance and smooth texture. Some cashews are treated with caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, to remove any remaining shell residue, and others may be bleached to achieve a uniform color. For people over 50, whose detoxification systems may not be functioning as efficiently as they once did, these additional chemical exposures can be concerning. While the levels are considered safe by regulatory agencies, some individuals may be more sensitive to these processing chemicals. Additionally, cashews are relatively high in oxalates, compounds that can contribute to kidney stone formation in susceptible individuals. People over 50 have a higher risk of kidney stones, partly due to changes in kidney function and hydration status that can occur with aging. Cashews are also one of the most common tree nut allergens, and allergies can develop at any age. Some people find they become more sensitive to certain foods as they age, even if they've eaten them without problems for years. Now, let's shift our focus to the nuts that research suggests can be particularly beneficial for supporting healthy aging. These 4 varieties offer specific compounds and nutritional profiles that align well with the health priorities of people over 50. Walnuts stand out among nuts for their exceptional omega-3 fatty acid content, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. These omega-3 south are crucial for brain health and cognitive function, which becomes increasingly important as we age. Research from the University of California, Los Angeles found that adults who regularly consumed walnuts showed improved cognitive function, including better memory, information processing speed, and concentration. The study followed participants over 2 years and found that these benefits were particularly pronounced in adults over 50. The omega-3 south in walnuts also support cardiovascular health, by helping to reduce inflammation in blood vessels and supporting healthy cholesterol levels. The Predimed study, a large-scale research project following Mediterranean diet patterns, found that people who ate walnuts regularly had a 30% lower risk of cardiovascular events. Walnuts also contain vitamin E and polyphenols, antioxidants that help protect brain cells from oxidative damage. As we age, our brains become more susceptible to this type of damage, making these protective compounds particularly valuable. The recommended serving size for walnuts is about 7 whole walnuts, or half an ounce per day. They're best consumed raw or lightly toasted to preserve their omega-3 content. Adding them to oatmeal, yogurt, or salads is an easy way to incorporate them into your daily routine. Pecans are powerhouses of antioxidants, containing more than 19 different vitamins and minerals. They're particularly rich in vitamin E, manganese, and zinc, nutrients that support immune function and help protect against cellular damage. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people who ate pecans regularly showed improved antioxidant levels in their blood and reduced markers of inflammation. This is particularly important for people over 50, as chronic low-grade inflammation is associated with many age-related health conditions. Pecans also contain plant sterols, compounds that can help lower cholesterol levels naturally. A study from Loma Linda University found that adding pecans to the diet resulted in a significant reduction in LDL, bad cholesterol levels, particularly in people with elevated cholesterol. The fiber content in pecans is also noteworthy. Adequate fiber intake becomes increasingly important as we age for maintaining digestive health and supporting healthy blood sugar levels. The soluble fiber in pecans can help slow the absorption of sugars and support stable blood glucose levels. Like walnuts, pecans are best consumed raw or lightly toasted. A 1-ounce serving, about 19 pecan halves, provides substantial nutritional benefits without being excessive in calories. Macadamia nuts have a unique fatty acid profile that sets them apart from other nuts. They're particularly high in monounsaturated fats, the same type of beneficial fats found in olive oil and avocados. These monounsaturated fats, particularly oleic acid, have been shown to have anti-inflammatory properties. For people over 50, managing inflammation becomes increasingly important as chronic inflammation is linked to many age-related health conditions including arthritis, cardiovascular disease, and cognitive decline. Research from Pennsylvania State University found that people who included macadamia nuts in their diet showed reduced markers of inflammation and improved cholesterol profiles. The study participants also reported feeling more satisfied after meals that included macadamia nuts, which may help with weight management. Macadamia nuts are also a good source of thiamine, vitamin B1, which is important for nervous system function and energy metabolism. As we age, our absorption of B vitamins can become less efficient, making it important to include good food sources in our diet. The recommended serving size for macadamia nuts is about 10 to 12 nuts per day. They have a rich, buttery flavor that many people find satisfying, which can help prevent overeating. Hazelnuts are exceptional sources of vitamin E, providing about 20% of the daily requirement in just 1 ounce. Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant that protects cell membranes from oxidative damage and supports skin health. As we age, our skin becomes more susceptible to damage from environmental factors and internal oxidative stress. The vitamin E in hazelnuts, along with other antioxidants they contain, can help support skin health from the inside out. Hazelnuts are also good sources of copper and manganese, minerals that are important for bone health. Copper is needed for the formation of collagen, a protein that provides structure to bones, skin, and connective tissues. Manganese is involved in bone formation and the metabolism of amino acids and carbohydrates. Research has shown that people who regularly consume nuts including hazelnuts, tend to have better bone density as they age. This is particularly important for women over 50, who are at increased risk for osteoporosis. Hazelnuts also contain folate, a B vitamin that becomes increasingly important as we age. Folate supports cardiovascular health and cognitive function, and adequate intake may help reduce the risk of age-related cognitive decline. The recommended serving size for hazelnuts is about 20 nuts per day. They can be eaten raw, lightly toasted, or added to both sweet and savory dishes. Now that we've covered which nuts to emphasize and which to consume more mindfully, let's talk about practical implementation. The key to getting the most benefit from nuts is consistency and moderation. First, portion control is crucial. While nuts are nutritious, they're also calorie-dense. A typical serving size is about 1 ounce, which translates to roughly a small handful. It's easy to overeat nuts, especially when they're flavored or when we're eating them mindlessly while watching television or working. Timing can also make a difference. Many people find that eating nuts as part of a balanced meal or snack helps with satiety and blood sugar control. For example, adding walnuts to your morning oatmeal or having hazelnuts with a piece of fruit in the afternoon can help maintain steady energy levels. Storage is another important consideration. Nuts contain oils that can become rancid when exposed to heat, light, or air for extended periods. Store nuts in airtight containers in a cool, dark place or in the refrigerator for longer-term storage. If nuts smell off or taste bitter, they should be discarded. For people with digestive sensitivities, soaking nuts overnight can make them easier to digest. This process, sometimes called activating nuts, can reduce compounds that some people find difficult to process. One common concern I hear from patients is about the calorie content of nuts. While it's true that nuts are calorie-dense, research consistently shows that people who regularly eat nuts tend to have lower body weights and better weight management over time. This apparent paradox is explained by several factors. First, the protein, fat, and fiber in nuts promote satiety, often leading people to eat less of other foods. Second, not all the calories in nuts are absorbed by the body. Some pass through undigested. Third, the nutrients in nuts may boost metabolism. Another concern is about cholesterol. Despite their fat content, nuts actually tend to improve cholesterol profiles rather than worsen them. The types of fats in most nuts, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, are associated with better cardiovascular health. Some people worry about food allergies developing later in life. While tree nut allergies can develop at any age, they're relatively rare in adults. If you've been eating nuts without problems, you're unlikely to suddenly develop an allergy. However, if you experience any unusual symptoms after eating nuts, it's worth discussing with your healthcare provider. It's important to recognize that nutritional needs and tolerances can vary significantly from person to person, especially as we age. Some people may find they digest certain nuts better than others, or that their preferences change over time. Pay attention to how different nuts make you feel. Do you experience digestive discomfort with certain varieties? Do you feel more satisfied or energetic after eating particular types? This individual feedback is valuable information for personalizing your approach. Some people with certain health conditions may need to be more careful about nut consumption. For example, people with chronic kidney disease may need to limit nuts due to their phosphorus content. Those taking blood-thinning medications should be consistent with their vitamin E intake from nuts. Always consult with your healthcare provider if you have specific health conditions or concerns. The key to getting long-term benefits from nuts is creating sustainable eating habits rather than trying to make dramatic changes overnight. Start by incorporating 1 or 2 of the recommended nuts into your current routine and see how you feel. Consider preparing small portions in advance. You might portion out a week's worth of nuts into small containers or bags, making it easy to grab. An appropriate serving when you need a snack. Experiment with different ways of eating nuts. Some people prefer them on their own, while others like them mixed with seeds, dried fruits, or added to meals. Find what works for your taste preferences and lifestyle. Remember that nuts are just one component of a healthy diet. They work best as part of an overall eating pattern that includes plenty of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats from various sources. As we age, our relationship with food often becomes more intentional. We may be more motivated to eat foods that support our health goals and help us maintain our independence and quality of life. Nuts can be valuable allies in this process when chosen and consumed thoughtfully. They provide nutrients that support brain health, cardiovascular function, bone strength, and overall vitality, all priorities for healthy aging. The research on nuts and aging is consistently positive. Large-scale studies have found that people who regularly consume nuts tend to live longer, have lower rates of cardiovascular disease, and maintain better cognitive function as they age. However, the benefits come from making nuts part of an overall healthy lifestyle, not from expecting them to be magic bullets. They work best when combined with regular physical activity, adequate sleep, stress management, and other healthy behaviors. The goal of this information isn't to create anxiety about food choices, but to empower you with knowledge that can help you make decisions that support your health goals. Understanding which nuts offer the most benefits for your age group and which ones might be less optimal allows you to make informed choices. Remember that perfection isn't the goal. Consistency and overall patterns matter more than individual food choices. If you occasionally enjoy some honey-roasted nuts at a party or add pine nuts to your pesto, that's perfectly fine as part of an overall healthy eating pattern. The key is making the majority of your nut choices ones that support your health goals. Focus on incorporating walnuts, pecans, macadamia nuts, and hazelnuts as regular parts of your diet, while being more mindful about heavily processed, high sodium, or excessive amounts of other varieties. Most importantly, listen to your body and work with your healthcare provider to determine what eating pattern works best for your individual health needs and goals. Nutrition is highly individual, and what works best for one person may not be optimal for another. As you move forward, remember that small, consistent changes often lead to the most sustainable improvements in health and well-being. Adding a handful of brain-supporting walnuts to your breakfast or heart-healthy pecans to your afternoon snack may seem like small steps, but over time, these choices can contribute to better health outcomes and enhanced quality of life as you age. The journey of healthy aging is a marathon, not a sprint. By making informed, thoughtful choices about foods like nuts, you're investing in your future health and vitality. Every positive choice you make today is a gift to your future self.